Good evening and welcome to Thoughts from Iron. I'm Duke, obviously. So, we're here to do episode 6, I believe, of Hammertime of Our Lives. We're going to be talking this season. Is going to be 1990-1991. So I'm going to bring in our guests this evening alongside my faithful companion, Mr. Robert Gates. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Not so bad, mate. How about yourself?
It's another day, another dollar. I have to say, before we bring in the guests, you're looking spiffing in your new shirt there, sir.
Do you like it?
I think we've found something a bit special.
Not bad. And on the back.
And on the back, yeah. I'm not going to try and turn because I'll rip my headphones out. But I'd like to point out that it's a bit of selfless promotion while we're walking around, because I'm not just going to wear this doing videos. I'm going to wear this in the pub.
Yeah, why not?
And I've already ordered more. I will put the link to the shop that we got these from. That looks banging. Put the link from the shop into the comments and everything underneath as we go. I'm going to bring in the man who is responsible for this for the idea for this show. He's also wearing blue, but he's not got a special Forge from Iron shirt. Mr. Milesy, good evening, sir.
Evening. I'm definitely ordering one. I think we've all got to get a memo. And
what are you having on the back?
Oh yeah, it's
he's going to have Masuaku's squad number just to wind up fever.
Rama flop.
No, I'm gonna get the Forge from Iron on one side. I'm gonna get Isla's Army on the other side as well, I think.
Yeah,
love
good
that
idea. Good idea.
Love that.
I'm looking forward to our other guest. I was
about to say, what we have someone incredibly esteemed and held in high regard in the West Ham YouTube community. Shall we bring him in? Shall we, or should we just leave him sitting in the back room?
No, bring him in. Hopefully he's brought some rum.
All right, let's see if he's got a rum.
That's a clue.
There he is.
Yes! Get in there, Jazz, my son.
Oh, I'm telling you now, if that's not half finished, Jazz, by the end of the video,
I'm just opening it.
There's a problem. It still don't mean anything if it ain't half finished by the time the end of this video. All right, Scott. Less of what? What have I missed? What did I not do? Less of being late? I don't know. Talk to me. Put it in the chat. Let me know. Right, gentlemen, this evening we are going to be talking about 1990-1991. Good year for me, this one. It has one of my favourite games from history in the West Ham shirt. Oh, sorry, Scott. I just got your comment. One of my favourite games in West Ham history. One that brings back a lot of memories from when I was a kid, and it includes my favourite goal, or one of my favourite goals, anyway, as a fan from a great little player. Obviously, this season it was preceded by obviously the World Cup in Italy. Again, the first real World Cup that I think I can remember. I would have been 12. Would have been 12. Gatesy, yes, you may go.
Anybody watching on Facebook and StreamYard are having a little bit of an issue. So if any of you that are watching on Facebook, it might cut out in a minute. If it does, either go to our Twitter feed or go and watch it on YouTube, because, as I say, it may well cut out. Facebook and StreamYard have been having a few issues. They're trying to sort it out. So if this cuts out unexpectedly and you're watching it on Facebook, either go to the Forge Talk Twitter feed or go to YouTube. Find it on there. Just thought I'd warn you, just in case it drops out.
Basically, they're arguing like a divorcing couple trying to work out who's going to get custody of the dog. No, it's not, Tom. It's not, although I do. Listen, Mr. Potts is one of my favourite former West Ham players. Mr. Dependable.
It might get mentioned later.
Of course it will. I actually wore...
look at this. Look who's jumped in.
Gloria, listen, don't start. Self-promotion. woman.
Yeah,
She's learned out. She's learned how to get involved on the live chat now. I'm in so much trouble.
Yeah,
So
you're going to have to
trouble.
behave yourself now, son. You're going to have to behave.
No chance. She's known me
No,
too
I
long.
know.
We're just gonna see like something get thrown at Gates's head in a minute. Just
dashed at him from the other side of the bar.
Yeah, you know it.
So yeah, as I was saying, preceded by the World Cup. First one I actually have some real memories of. Some good, some bad, obviously. I think it was when, as a country, we fell back in love with international football. Oh, save that for Russ's show. That's it. Cover him up. I think as a country we fell in love with back with the English national team, back with international football. Robson taking us all the way to the semis against Germany. Funny story with that Germany game. Now, some of you may or may not know on this channel. I have German heritage. My dad was born in Germany. My grandmother was in the German Navy towards the end of World War II. And my dad used to run a working men's club when we were kids. There was a bet made. Great, yes, well done. It gets better.
Look who else is getting involved.
Go on, Liv.
You're all ganging up on me.
So yeah, my dad, obviously being from Germany, was born in Germany, and a bet was placed with one of the regulars that used to come into the club that if England lost to Germany in the semi-final of the World Cup, my dad would have to dress up for a darts match. He would have to dress up as Hitler and play against the guy that placed the bet against him. Would be dressed up as St. George in a darts match for charity. And obviously, lo and behold, we all know the outcome of that. And I do believe somewhere floating around in my mum's possession is a picture of my dad dressed up in the full get-up, black tash painted. You got to bear in mind, back then, 1990 was a completely different time. It was, so it was a, different world we lived in then, and it wasn't as frowned upon as it would be today. So, guys, obviously, we're going to get into this, and as I say, we've all picked our games. The man underneath me absolutely loves doing these with us. You did one with us, Jazz, a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? And I tell you what, I love what you bring to the table with these. I absolutely love what you bring to the table. I'll cover some more of the World Cup towards the end, just because obviously I really want to get into the bits of this season. So, Jazz, we're going to start with you with your first game for me. We're going to go around the table one game at a time. So your first game for me, Jazz, then from 1990-91.
Yeah, before I start, I just want to know, can you speak any German?
Yeah.
No, seriously, can you?
No, to be honest with you, mate, very, very little.
I'm surprised. When you
I studied German at GCSEs and got a G, which was incredibly painful, telling my dad with a look on his face, telling my grandma with a look on her face that obviously I received the G in German, which is as low as they go without failing. So I can actually very basic German. Wo wohnst du? Ich wohne in Greenhive. I can do all of that. Wie alt bist du?
He's on a roll now. He's on a roll.
I can do the very very basics, very basic German. I used to sit there and listen to my dad sitting on the bottom of the stairs back in the 90s when you had telephones on a cord and the phone on the wall, and you'd have to sit at the bottom of the stairs. And I used to listen to my dad, Mark. Yeah, I like it.
Leave it to me, Dill boy.
Used to listen to my dad talking on the telephone to my gran, and they'd literally go between talking English and in a split second would just flow into German. And I'd be sitting there wondering what in God's green earth was going on, because I didn't understand. And 1 minute they'd be talking in pure English, and I'd be leaning out my bedroom door trying to listen, what's going on. And then all of a sudden it just flow into German. And obviously then my gran, she passed away a few years ago. I used to go around her house in the previous few years before she passed away, and she'd sit there and she'd start asking me questions, Jazz, in German, and I wouldn't have a fucking clue what she was going on about, because obviously, like I say, I don't speak it. So I'd sit there, I'd lean a bit closer to her and I'd go, English, talk to me in English. And she used to absolutely roll up because she thought it was hilarious. And I don't know whether she did it on purpose or whether it was just her age and everything was starting to switch off up top. But she, every time I'd go around there, she'd go from English and then start slipping into German. And oh God,
it must be matching, Duke, because I've got an F in French, so it must be what nationality it begins with.
I'm trying to remember if I got an E in English.
Strangely enough.
Excellent.
I think I might have done actually, Gatesy. I might have done actually, yeah. So Jazz, game number 1 from you then, my friend.
Yeah, just want 2 minutes to give a flavour to everyone watching in terms of sort of getting their mind and jogging their memories a bit, really. So this was Billy Bonds' first ever full season. Bishop was the captain predominantly for the season. And I need to remember, I'm not sure, because I thought Dix was the captain the year before where I first went and you guys covered it. So I don't know how he ended up in Bishop's hands, but I'll have to look back at that.
I think it was this was when Dixie got his first knee injury, Jazz.
Oh, okay, so halfway through. So Dick started off as captain. Miklosko was obviously player of the year. McAvenny came back into shape. It took him a long while to get fit, so you see him. And another common theme, which we always touch upon, especially the last one I did with you guys, there are no summer signings again. So summer signings again. But having said that, if you look at the squad that we will speak about, and just looking at strikers compared to what we got now, I'm looking at 6 strikers in our squad for this season. You're looking at Rosinia, Morley, Quinn, Slater, winger/striker type Slater, McAvenny, Jimmy Quinn. Look at that. And compare that to what we got now. And just quickly before I start, in terms of always like to go through the signings in the summer. So Chelsea paid a record fee for Dennis Wise that summer. They also signed Andy Townsend. So Mr. Ken Bates certainly got the checkbook out at Chelsea. I think Mark Haitley signed for Monaco. Actually, no, he joined Rangers. Tony Cotton for the club record fee joined Man City. And Gary McAllister went to Leeds from Leicester. So those were the 5-6 signings that would jog people's memories. And sort of going back to my game, I picked the game that obviously had electric atmosphere. It's one of those evening games that Upton Park was always renowned for. Cup game, midweek game. And remember, this particular game was shown live at the time where we had 2 digital companies fighting for business. One was Sky, as we know it. One was BSB with their odd shape kind of dish. It wasn't round, was it? It's kind of
the squarial.
Weird,
the
wasn't
squarial, it was called.
Yeah, so, and I remember my dad saying, we haven't obviously got BSB, but I need to watch it. So let's go to your uncle's house. So we drove down there because he had cable, and Dad's obviously, he hasn't really gone to meet him, and they know it. He's walked in, put the TV on. So it's going to be the FA Cup quarter-final clash between West Ham and Everton. That's the one I wanted to start off with. Obviously, this is towards the last third of the season, not the beginning, but I think cup games, even back then, obviously the FA Cup was held in high regard still for me, from being a kid and everyone around that kind of era. And obviously, brilliant. I haven't got the programs from that season. I had a look last night in my collection, and I couldn't see anything. But yeah, this was the last. That was the last season we wore that kit. We wore it for 2 seasons. So this was the one, FA Cup. Really nervous. Are we going to get through to the semis? Because obviously, since I started sporting him in '83. We didn't reach the semis in the FA Cup, did in the League Cup, and we didn't really know how we going to do against kind of what we call his Division One stroke Premiership opposition, and certainly against a team who, even back then, there was a mixed record that got slightly worse as we get closer to modern times. And obviously Tony Cottee, I believe, was in the Everton squad. But from memory, he didn't quite start the game. I think he might have come on towards the end. I'm not sure. These are the memories, really. The atmosphere, the crowd was 28,162, which was a high crowd for that kind of second division team and for that kind of period in that division. And we kind of held them at bay, really. You don't forget our kind of record in the league was unbelievable. We didn't lose many. We went on sort of not losing games in 15, 16 sort of games in a row. I believe later in one of the videos in the debut says after Arsenal, we had one of the best defences in the top two divisions. So difficult to beat, hard-working, well-organised. I'm not sure if Gatesy's got the team lineup up or not on it.
Well, I might just. There you go. Right. Have a look at that. Can you see that?
Was a team, wasn't it? Look at that.
I mean, the Everton team wasn't too bad either. Yeah, it's got kind of Graham Sharp, Pat Nevin, Ratcliffe, Neville Southall, who obviously did well in the game. And this is where, obviously, McCloskey rose to fame, became Player of the Year, had a cracking season. We found a really good goalkeeper after Phil Parks. And largely British team, if you can see. Still, we didn't quite have the Premiership at that time. That was still, a little bit away into the future. So still a lot of the teams in the UK still had predominantly British players. Steve Potts. 3 players, having mentioned that we didn't sign anyone during the season, we did sign 3 during. And we can see one of them is Roebuck Tim Breaker, great signing from Luton, I think. Colin Foster, up and down kind of season for him, really, at West Ham. One of Lou Macari's not so good signings, according to me. The rest, obviously, McCloskey, he brought in Martin Allen, Ian Bishop, Trevor Morley, pushed Steve Slater into the team. So Lou Macari, despite what some people say for me, he wasn't too bad in the period he was there. George Paris was in that kind of form where he actually scored 4 goals in 4 games during that season. And in the 5th game in the semi-final, which you guys will speak about, he actually kind of hit the post that you guys will talk about later on. So George Paris hit his real form that time, playing really, really well. Ian Bishop, obviously one of the players who's in my Hammers 11 with Russ, someone who could kind of give it. He could pass it either side, both-footed, a lot of skill, didn't lose the ball, but could also kind of put his foot in and tackle really well. And Stuart Slater kind of with Frank McAvenny and Jimmy Quinn up front, really. So that was the team lineup. And like I said, we kind of held our own in that game. Certainly in the first half, we got close a couple of times and ended up with kind of Colin Foster, who was at least 6 foot 6'5", 6'6", gangly type looking centre back. But the way he kind of hooked that cross into the sort of corner, that was amazing. The striker would be proud of that finish, really. I don't know how he adjusted his body. And that went just flying. And from what I remember, Neville Southall didn't even move. And everyone went nuts. The crowd absolutely, just went absolutely mad. And this was a time when we used to take cup competitions seriously. And you guys covered it in the season before. And even in the Joan Lard season before that, we reached the latter stages of both the cups, League Cup and FA Cup. We were reaching the quarters. Yeah. At a minimum, definitely to the semi-final stage, especially the League Cup. And 1-0 was a good game. But still, as West Ham fans going into the second half, we still felt that Everton are going to come back into it because we just don't have a good record against them. And they've got strong pedigree, they'll come back into it. And Dave Watson, I mean, he nearly kind of scored a couple of times, but it wasn't quite happening for him. But that's going to come much later on. I think before that, I think one man certainly made his name that night, especially in the back of the newspapers, and life was never going to be the same for him again. And that was Stuart Slater. He kind of made his name under John Lyle in that relegation season when Paul Ince came to the fore as well. So I don't think he was that far off in the same team as Paul Ince, probably a year younger. A winger / striker, full of pace. Scored 2 goals in the first ever game I saw at Upton Park in the season you covered, where we beat Bradford 2-0. and he was kind of untouchable. You couldn't get near him. He had the knack of taking one or two players on at the same time, and also having the kind of brains and thoughtfulness to kind of, if two people are on him, then he didn't always try to take them on all the time and lose it. He kind of had the sense to thread it through to the rest of the team. And a number of times you'll see two defenders gang up on him and he just threads the ball between the two into the area instead of trying to take them on and lose it. And his goal was kind of, he picks it up, takes it onto the wing, if I remember, cuts inside, and it's a great finish in the bottom sort of right-hand corner of Neville Southall. And even Howard Kendall after the game said that here's a new sort of the next £1 million, £2 million player, whatever. And from then we felt much more comfortable, but then we kind of sat back a bit in the West Ham way. And going back to Dave Watson, he missed one chance, but then he got one back. I think it's through a header. And I think it was around the 86th minute. So the last 4 minutes, as usual, West Ham fans, we had our nappies on, getting nervous, holding on. And I was too young to have run back then, so I was just being cool next to my man. kind of suffering a bit.
Was this the first night that you had rum, Jazz?
No, I was.
Is this what started you off?
No, didn't. No. But we held on. I think Tony Cottee, if I have a look at the information on the Gates, I think Tony Cottee, he came on. Not too sure if he came on.
I
Neil
believe
McDonald.
He did. I think
yeah,
Kent
it says at the bottom. It says at the bottom.
Yes, he had a background from Newcastle.
Yes,
and
from Neil McDonald.
So, yeah, he played with
Neil
Chris
McDonald
Waddle
later
and
became
Roder, I think,
assistant
back in
manager,
those days.
didn't he?
He did.
He might have signed with Pat Nevin and
Sam
Tony
Allardyce.
Cottee in the same month. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
Tom
too sure,
just
can't
said it.
remember
Yeah,
but yeah.
it is
So
Tom. Yes.
so we held. Yeah, we kind of held on that front, but like we spoke about earlier, those 6 strikers, we rarely managed to play them in any consistency. They're always changing around. So call it luck or call it kind of not consistency, but that was the night when I think, we made our name, played really well, and cup games is what West Ham are famous for, and we kind of went on to the semi-finals really after that. So that game by far, I think for me, stood out for everything that atmosphere, cups, evening games, and getting one over who's the favourite really.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually possibly my most memorable game from being a youngster as a West Ham fan. Like you say, under the lights, Upton Park was always an amazing experience. I was lucky enough to go to several. Not being a season ticket holder, obviously, it was not having parents that would have taken me to the football games. And again, I don't hold it against them. It's just one of them things. I'm not the only one that would have been growing up with parents that didn't take kids to football. So
same as me, I'm on the same boat, mate. Yeah, same boat. So
I kind of made up for it later in life. But this was a game, like you say, was on TV. Luckily, where we lived, we lived in Thamesmead when this game was on, and I remember we had the old knob twizzle channel changer on the wall, and we got this game, and I remember sitting at home watching it, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why it is my favourite game, to be honest with you. And I had the goals written out, and to be honest with you, you said there about Colin Foster's goal in the first half. I mean, what by Gatesy? What a hit! I mean, it was such a good goal. The ball comes in from Bishop from the left, in swinging, punched out by Southall. Breaker on the edge of the box, just kind of clips. I wouldn't say it was a drilled cross. It wasn't a firm cross. It's kind of not floated. It was it was a very flat cross, and he just swung that right foot like a golf club. And it was just he caught it sweetly, across. He used the pace on the ball as well, kind of on the swing, bottom bins. Southall was just left standing, and I remember watching it and thinking, Christ Almighty, that was a defender, that was a centre back that just put that away. That ain't a bad finish, and I think Jonathan Pearce touches on it in the think it was Jonathan Pearce in the commentary, actually touches on it and says that that's a goal that a striker would have been proud of. And then one of my favourite goals of all time, and it's one of the reasons this guy ends up in my Hammers 11 alongside Michael Carrick in midfield, because Stuart Slater for me was outstanding. I loved watching him play. It was fantastic, you know. And that ball there, you know, it comes out to him on the left. He cuts inside. He beats Martin Keown of obviously that day Arsenal fame, and puts the ball through Dave Watson's legs, past Southall's, you know, kind of despairing dive into the bottom corner of the goal. And and again, I remember as a kid going absolutely batshit crazy around the house, because we'd just gone 2-0 up and looked like we were about to beat an Everton side that had that epic 4-4 draw in the previous round, essentially cost Dalglish's job because he quit soon afterwards. Then, you know, Everton beat them. So in my 13-year-old brain, I was going around school the next day saying West Ham are better than Liverpool because we've just beaten Everton and Everton beat Liverpool. So in my childish brain at the time, my teenage brain, I was like, yeah, that's how it works. And even now, you know, when we beat certain teams that have won in Europe, you know, like if we beat Man City next season, well, they beat PSG, so we're better than PSG. It works. Keep with the faith, boys. It does work. But I mean, yeah, that's the one game that season. Like I say, it was my first ever West Ham game that I solidly remember. Stuart Slater's goal is one of my favourites of all time, probably because it was, you know, the first one that I saw that was just, apart from Foster's, I've got to say Foster's was a great goal, but you know, that for that tricky winger-esque kind of player there, it's just one of my favourite goals as a kid growing up, and one of my favourite players growing up as a kid, to be fair. Cracking little player.
I think Slater does mention that his form went down from that moment. He was
couldn't have got any higher.
No, he never managed to. And we know later on down the line, Liam Brady took him to Celtic, a few injuries, and we never saw him again. But I think he has reappeared on some of our channels, or maybe Russ's. I've seen him. I think he's back. He's done something. Yeah, so
he's back on Twitter and everything else. Yeah.
Did John Lyle take him to Ipswich? I can't remember now. I'm not sure.
I think he did go to Ipswich.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it rings a bell, doesn't it? Somewhere. I know Celtic definitely with Liam Brady. Yeah.
But I love Slater, and the fact that, you know, I saw a couple of clips during lockdown of him on Twitter, and he's got the old BAC shirt that somehow still fit him. I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, he was doing keep ups in the garden, if I remember rightly. Someone tagged me in it, and you know, I'd love to, you know, some point down the line, Gatesy, we might have to have a little conversation and see if we can get him on, just so I can, you know, sing his praises while he's sitting there, and hopefully he listens to me.
Love him.
Literally, I would tell him I love it. When this goes out, mate,
I've just checked.
Go on.
I say I've just checked what Jazz was saying. Yes, John Lyle did take him to Ipswich in '93.
Oh, okay.
I will certainly be tagging Mr. Slater in this and Bish, because we're going to talk a little bit about Bish as we go on. So these guys might get a little tagging on Twitter as we go. Gatesy, would you want Milesy to go next? Or
yeah, Milesy can go next.
Milesy, give me your game number one, you gorgeous man.
Let's get ready. Right. My first game is the West Ham Oxford game at Upton Park on the 3rd of October. As you know, the season reviews go on for the games go on for a very long time on these season reviews. So when you see the highlights, and this was the first. I know Ludo had a great season, but this was the first game when I just saw how good he actually was, if that makes sense. A couple of great saves what he made, but I'll carry on with that. But we started off so well in this game. Dix was just heavily involved, and he just put a great cross in, like a typical Dix cross, and defenders just didn't know how to deal with it, and the ball just managed to head himself back down to him, and he just hit this ball like true Dixie style on the half volley, and it nearly went in. The only problem was it was just probably a good couple of yards out, but yeah, it was a very, very, very good start to the game. A few moments later, the Magic Man Bishop played a great ball in from the right, and Queen hit this volley, and literally the goalkeeper made a save. And I rewound it back because they mentioned the goalkeeper's name. It was actually a young Ian Walker who was in goal for him, which I didn't know beforehand, because obviously I didn't get the team sheet weren't up for them, but it was only when the commentators mentioned on it, and he still had that stupid long hair even when he was young, so he didn't really change. It's not like he grew into it. But no, yeah, he made a very good save. And then, as the two players who have been mentioned, Bishop and Slater were involved in the build-up on the left-hand side. Nice 1-2. Literally, the defenders were nowhere in him, and then Slater just put this ball, whipped it in with so much pace, and Foster from about 10 yards literally just thumped this ball so hard from a header, and literally it just bounced off the crossbar. Walker didn't even move, to be honest. The power just beat in there and then, and yeah, it was amazing. It was a great start from us, and then Ludo, a few minutes later, literally, Oxford player shot from about 25 yards out, and he just hit the crossbar and come back. West Ham didn't react, and the Oxford striker literally just hit this ball, and then Ludo just reacted so well and literally managed to parry the ball out for a corner. And then a few minutes later, this is where the luck comes in. Oxford were awarded a penalty. No one knew what it was for. I don't know whether any of you guys remember this game, because the commentary didn't even really know why it was. But yeah, they were awarded a penalty, and I know we've seen some bad penalties, but this reminded me. Do you remember Mahrez's miss against Liverpool a couple of seasons ago when he just skied it? It was like one of them, and literally the ball was just the camera couldn't even keep up. That's how high, that's how high it went, and yeah, a let off for us, and then we go 2-0 up. Great diagonal ball, what Dix does, unleashed Keane, and he just started running on the right hand side, and literally the ball what he put in was second to none. Literally the pace and everything, and then Mr. Morley with another headed goal, literally smashed it straight in. And I know we keep saying it, and I mentioned it last week, but when we scored goals back then, the crowd, the players, it's not forced. Do you know what I mean? You could just see how much it meant to them, and yeah, we were really, really good in this game, and that was my first real taste. That was the first game that really caught my eye, and yeah, like I said, Ludo played outstanding, and now I know why you picked Slater Duke. This is like the first. I've heard about him, I've seen some highlights, but watching this season, yeah, great player, and yeah, that's my first game, gents.
Yeah, like you said there, mate. For me, Slater was the first kind of player that I could. I know people I probably could get a bit of stick for this in the chat. I saw Gascoigne in the 1990 World Cup, and he was just brilliant with the ball. You know, it looked like the ball stuck to his feet. He was so good, and I always, I remember thinking even back then during the World Cup, I'd love to have someone like Gaza at West Ham. And we started watching Slater come good that season, like you said, and like Jazz mentioned earlier. And when Slater was with the ball at his feet and he was running with the ball, I'm not saying he was Gaza-esque. I'm not trying to compare him to Paul Gascoigne in that sense, but he was our own little Paul Gascoigne, if you will. It was someone that could beat players, someone that was comfortable running with the ball. And I just, I absolutely loved him. I loved him that season. And, like you said, he had a really good season that year. Gatesy.
Got the programme as well. As well for you, Malty.
Wow, look at that.
There you go.
BAC.
That kit. Beautiful kit.
Was that the chant, wasn't it? BAC means Backer Championship or something along them lines. I remember there being a chant that was something like that.
Simon mentioned it. How much were them programs?
Oh, look.
God, probably about 8
Look what
pence or
he's
something.
found
Oh,
out
look
of
at that.
nowhere.
That's
Who's
a,
that signed
that
by,
is a work
Jazz?
of art, that shirt. That is beautiful.
Oh, look. It's my man.
Look, it's the
It's
man.
my man.
It's the man himself. It's
No
the man.
way.
I love it.
That's my first ever shirt as a kid. Yeah, my first ever shirt. I got it framed locally before it was gonna, break into bits. I think the crest has worn out. Oh, bloody! Let me try to show it. The crest has worn out. The crest has worn out.
Look.
That is class.
We met Julian Dix on one of the events many years ago, and he signed it, and he's like, "Bloody hell, that's one of the old ones, mate." And then he met the kids, so the kids are in the photo.
No way.
I got him to sign other picture as well with that one.
Oh, he's my hero, Jazz. I love him.
That's class.
Yeah, hangs in my kids'
love
bedroom upstairs. Yeah, I brought it down specially for today.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
Tom likes it.
Everyone in the chat that's commenting about the chant. Thank you. It's you've got to bear in mind I was only a kid, so I've forgotten. Casey, your game number 1, sir.
Yes, my game number 1. So,
and just quickly, you have something special for us. Am I right?
Yes, you'll find out in a moment. So, my first game, I'm just going to find it here and get the match card prepped for everyone so they can have a butchers at the players that we fielded
on
this particular day. Sorry?
Have a Terry. Have a little Terry at it.
Yep. Now, here we go. This is the match card for my first match in question. This is the 7-1 home victory over Hull City, which gained a little bit of infamy because this was the one and only time that the club legend known as Mr. Stephen Potts scored a goal in over 500 career appearances. Well, you may very well say that. I could not possibly comment, but he actually, if I remember correctly, he actually almost scored before he actually did score. And I think it was a save from the goalkeeper that denied him. However, when he scored the goal, it was, well, to say that the goalkeeper should have done better is something of an understatement, I would suggest, with all due respect to the goalkeeper in question. That there is the programme from that match. Kevin Keane. But
it don't look any different, does it? It don't look any different than what he does now.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I decided to do something different for my 3 matches. Because normally I sit here and I give a little bit of a spiel about, how the game progressed. Well, I decided to employ a budget Martin Tyler, if you will. So this is going to take about 3 minutes of your life, gentlemen. So whilst this is going on, you're going to be in the green room witnessing this. This is commentary of an alternative version of West Ham United 7, Hull City 1. Enjoy. George Paris bringing the ball forwards from the back for West Ham. Down the left-hand side, plays a ball through to Trevor Morley. He cuts inside, finds Paris on the overlap, who finds Jimmy Quinn in the box. 1-0 West Ham, sweeps it in with his left foot, past the goalkeeper who had no chance. Beautiful play, building up from the back. George Paris, Trevor Morley, Paris again on the return. West Ham 1-0. Hull bringing it forwards down their right-hand side. Beautiful play. Ball's played forward. Header. And, what was Miklosko doing? He really should have had that. That's the equaliser for Hull. Bishop finds Steve Potts making a move up from right fullback. Has a shot. Oh, my word! He's scored his first goal for the club. West Ham go 2-1 up, and it's the most unlikely goal scorer in claret and blue. Steve Potts from fully 25 yards unleashes a shot off of the defender, but it's gone through the goalkeeper's legs. Here we are in the second half. Ball's played forward by Steve Potts, clearing header. Trevor Morley, he's brought down. Penalty. Penalty given. No doubt about it. He was absolutely taken out in the penalty box. Here comes Julian Dix. Left foot. Goal. 3-1 West Ham. Never in any doubt. Absolute pile driver of a penalty. And I think the goalkeeper, quite frankly, was moving out of the way. He didn't want a piece of that. 3-1 West Ham. Ian Bishop plays it to the right. Here comes Steve Potts. Plays in Kevin Keane. Cuts back. Dummy. George Parrish, right foot. 4-1. I think it's taken a deflection off of the whole player, but he won't care. He'll be claiming it. West Ham go 4-1 up. Great play by Kevin Keane. It was dummied by Martin Allen. Deflection on its way from George Parrish's shot, but it's 4-1 West Ham. Bishop plays the ball forwards down the left-hand side. Here's George Parrish. Plays a beautiful ball for Jimmy Quinn on the volley. 5-1. This is becoming a rout. 5-1. Beautiful ball in from George Parrish on the left-hand side. Swept to in by Jimmy Quinn on the volley. Corner for West Ham. Ian Bishop takes it deep. Jimmy Quinn on the header, and it's Trevor Morley sweeps it in. He's in the 6-yard box, swept it past the goalkeeper. The corner was played in from Ian Bishop deep. Jimmy Quinn gets his head to it, drops inside the 6-yard box, swept in by Trevor Morley. 6-1. George Parrish plays the ball forwards. Trevor Morley. On comes Julian Dix. Round the goalkeeper. Can he finish? Yes, he can. From a tight angle. Southern gets his second. And this is an absolute nightmare day for Hull. Round the goalkeeper. He's still got a lot of work to do, mind. From a tight angle. Makes it 7-1 to West Ham. A good day's work at the office here at Upton Park.
Yeah, hello, Sean Hughes. Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you. Yeah, you gave me a call regarding Mr. Gates. Yeah, he's my client. You'd like to sign him up to commentate on the Champions League final. I think it's out of your range there, sir. Yeah,
behave yourself.
Thank you, Gatesy. I love it. I love it. Only you would have come up with that. Honesty, I love it. I'm taking nothing away from you there.
I'm just rewinding on the comments, guys, because I was just sitting here, sort of like whilst it was unfolding. So I'm just going to go back on the comms. I'm going into Martin Tyler mode. I do apologise. On the comments. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the sort of like the Audi version of Clive Tilsley or John Motson or whatever your favourite commentator happens to be.
So the only thing what was missing was you should have had your mic like that. Pretend to have a mic there.
You know what? It's funny you say that. Yeah. I was actually looking to see if I could get one of those, I think they're called lip microphones. But they're bloody expensive.
I know.
Yeah, shocking. Really expensive. So, but yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed it.
Loved it.
I have a laugh at myself because if you got to be able to laugh at yourself, haven't you? So why not? I just had the crazy idea of doing an alternate commentary. I was sitting there watching it on YouTube, and I thought, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a running commentary of it. I'm just going to go with it. So that was it.
To be honest with you, mate, fair play to you.
Yeah, I liked it.
It just adds something else to the channel that you're batshit crazy.
Something different.
No, it's all good, It's all good. We're going to go on to Jazz for game number 2.
Yeah, this was tricky. obviously, this is a time when some teams played on plastic pitches, notably QPR, Luton, and Oldham, and I hated those clubs. Obviously, one of the reasons we didn't do too well. Oldham, obviously, we were neck and neck with them this season, and they'd kind of beaten us 6-0 the year before. Luton, again, I think they knocked us out in the John Lyles sacking season in the semi-finals, a League Cup. So I'm going to go for the go back to the FA Cup again and go to the fourth round. So we were drawn away to Luton, which ended in 1-1 on the plastic pitch. So the game I'm going to speak about is the replay. Midweek again, under the lights again. And again, every West Ham fan thinking we're not really going to go past Luton because they've knocked us out many, many times, and they will do so again in some of the seasons you'll cover, sort of going forward, really. So this particular game, 30th of January, 1991, probably crisp evening in East London again, 25,000 in the crowd. So again, really good crowd for all the cup games. We'd beaten kind of Aldershot in the round before 6-1. So doing really well in the league and the kind of FA Cup. And instead of I'm not going to go for goal by goal, but we won 5-0. And there's not many times you'll beat Luton 5-0, really. And one of our
This is my game as well, Jazz. So I'll give a bit more detail on the goals.
You cover it,
Sorry, I didn't realise.
No, brilliant. You've done me a favour. Love it. Brilliant. So we not many times we're going to beat them 5-0. I think I'll leave the goal scorers to Andy. I don't want to spoil it too much for him, but
no, go for it, mate. Go for it. It's fine. If all what you remember, go for it. Honestly, it's fine.
No, I'll leave it for you. But for me, it was all about. I hated Luton back then. They beat us every year. Even when you go back to 1980, 81, when we won the league Division 2 title, we only lost 1 or 2 games, or 3 in the whole league. Luton done a double over us. So it goes back many years. David Pleat built a good team back then, and it carried on. And Luton and I think Duke and Gatesy agree. If I mention Charlton, Luton, we'll never beat these guys. They're always kind of put one over.
It's an irrational hatred, wouldn't it, Jazz?
Yeah,
that was the book that came
Lawrence, Charlton. Yeah, they kind of, and the similar players keep popping up, keep scoring against us. So this was a 5-0 thrashing. Really, really good goals. And I think this is the one I'll enjoy when Andy describes the goals, because in this season, the goals are like Brazil, 1-2, one-touch football. And Stuart Slater, like you said, very much part of that. And some of them, I love Kevin Keane as well. Absolutely love him. A lot of skill, amazing goals. So it was this one, really. It was this one I was going to pick one of the older ones, but I went for this one because it was nice to get one over them, I think, and in such a nice way, not even letting in one goal. So 5-0. So that's my second game, second cup game, actually, funny enough,
So, Andy, rather than, like I did on the last game, obviously, me and Jazz had the same first one. So what I'll do is I'll give the second bit up to you then, so you can take care of the you can do your Gatesy bit. I know I don't think you have a recording on it, but we'll let you do your Gatesy bit. We a goal scorer.
You do realise now I'm going to have to do at least one recording now every week just to match Gatesy. This is what it's going to have to be.
So I'll pass the floor over to you, sir.
Yeah. It must be. I don't know. Obviously, we say we never script anything, but seriously, we must, because in my notes for the start of this, George Paris scored the goal, and Jazz mentioned it earlier. This was his four goals in 4 games in this game. Yeah. This was his goal, and literally, this goal was unreal. Great strike. Right in the bottom left-hand corner, and we were off and running really on this. And Kevin King, literally as his usual running on the right-hand side. And when I mean a cross, this cross was sweet. Literally took everyone out of the game. And that man, Ian Bishop, I don't know how many goals he scored with his head, but I think this was probably up there. Literally, the power. Literally, the keeper. I don't know. Does anyone know who the goalkeeper was in this game? Because he had a bit of a mare. I don't know whether Kent may know who it was, but yeah, he wasn't very good. But yeah, the header, and literally as soon as he scored, he just went running straight towards the crowd like we were.
Alec Chamberlain.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, he's famous. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Kent. See, I knew Kent would get it for me. The 3-0. Literally, I don't know. I literally don't know what they were doing. Literally playing the ball around on the halfway. The midfielder just tried to do a loop back to the goalkeeper, but he headed it. Well, he cleared it to McAvenny, and he just then started running with the ball. Went round the keeper, slotted it, and went running. It sort of reminded me of a Shearer celebration. He just went running like that and didn't know where to go and went running straight towards the corner, and everyone just started. I think that's when, like you said, the team back then and Luton 3-0 up, even as West Ham fans, not now, obviously this season, but with a 3-0 lead, I bet they were starting to think we'll go away with it. And then another mistake. Literally, I don't know, the mistakes what Luton were making were terrible. And Kevin Keane hit a great shot. Goalkeeper parried it, went up in the air. Morley on the right hand side, great header, great goal, 4-0. And then Trevor Morley tops it off with his 5th goal. Literally, this free kick. Do you know how? I'm trying to think of people nowadays for the. Do you know, like a short run up of a free kick, like what Berbatov done with us at Upton Park. Do you know, like the 1-step run up? Literally, he just bent it, made it 5, hit in the top left hand corner. Sorry, and yeah, the game 5-0. Crowd were going wild, and like you said, the attendance there, especially for a cup game, 25,000. I wish that's the games you missed. You know, the cup games at Upton Park. You'll never get them memories back. But yeah, that was my choice of a game as well.
Good choice.
Yeah, Kent's right on that. Sorry, yeah, with regards to Dowie. Dowie was the one who played one of the passes back, and the defender panicked, and that's when McAvenny scored the goal. Yeah,
because he'd left us the season before, hadn't he? He'd gone in the summer or whatever. As I remember.
Did he?
No. We signed him this season.
Did we?
We signed him. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
because he had 2 spells, didn't he? Yeah.
And I tell you what, in this season, you would not think that's the Dowie we kind of think. He's on top of his game this season. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Another thing is just to ties in with this game. We'd lost to Luton in that same season in the Zenith Data Systems Cup. That are still around. They put 6 past us. So going back to again with the Luton thing. Yeah, we lost 6-0, I think, or 6-1, I think it was, in the same season. Yeah, on the plastic pitch, though. Having said that, but yeah, so it's nice to get one over him, I think.
The ZDS Cup. What an awful bloody name that was for a cup. Hey, Casey, you got the wrong thing up on the bottom there, mate.
Rightly, that was just. I have. You're right.
There we go. That's the one we want. So my second game then, which was going to be my first game because as it was versus Ipswich, Gatesy. We won 3-1 at home, and it was John Lyle's return to Upton Park, and also in goal for Forest on that day. Was a fan of our Twitter page, Gatesy. Am I right in thinking?
Who's that?
He's the Ipswich goalkeeper on this day. Is actually
Mr. Forrest.
Mr. Forrest, someone who follows our Twitter page. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Little name drop there for you.
Mr. Canadian.
I have actually. I've been on him to try and win an appearance, but he hasn't responded as yet, but I'm sure he's a very busy man.
Actually, we also have another man who I'm going to mention at some point. I think, in fact, we've already mentioned him in the FA Cup game, who also follows us on Twitter. A certain Mr. Bishop actually follows us.
I've been on to him as well.
Oh, Bish.
Yeah,
He didn't say no.
Craig.
He did actually respond.
No, I've been on a couple of shows with Bish, and he's my friend on Twitter. He's a very nice, down to earth guy.
He seems like a really nice guy from the stuff I've seen, Jazz, and
brilliant.
I've watched and listened to. He seems like a really nice guy.
Does a really good podcast with his two sons as well.
Like
So
5 pints in,
yeah. We enjoy watching that. So this one, we won 3-1, and I've done I won't lie to you, I've done a bit of Milesy, look. I've got like,
don't let me down. You're letting me down. Come on.
Look, I've got pages. So the first goal, I am turning into Milesy with this one.
Oh no.
So the first goal, we go 1-0 down, actually. Ipswich break down the left. A cross comes into the box from Ian Redford. Controlled in the box, just inside the 18-yard box by a young Chris Kiwomya. There's a name that absolutely jumped out of me. I was like, bloody hell. Chris Kiwomya, he then plays the ball across the box a bit further over to Simon Milton, who takes a touch and absolutely smashes the ball across the box, back to the left corner, past Ludo. 1-0 Ipswich. The West Ham equaliser starts something special. Just literally on the D of the West Ham box, Alvin Martin picks the ball up, and he beats two men just so nonchalantly, literally he was a centre mid, just dropping a shoulder, beating one, dropping the other shoulder, beating two. And I'm sitting there, I went back and watched it a couple of times because I was like, seriously, that was a centre back. Right, okay. Yeah. And I mean, listen, with Alvin Martin was a good defender. Andy, they've turned up for you. Whatever it is you've done, they're behind you. If something comes through that window, mate, I'm sorry. It was nice knowing you. So he comes out, he beats two men, and then he just plays this absolutely blinding ball down the left. What's going on, Gatesy? Andy, tell us. He plays this great ball out to Stuart Slater on the left, who literally charges parallel to the byline into the box. He holds the ball up. He then finds Martin Allen, takes a touch, kind of swivels 90 degrees on himself and lays the ball back about 20 yards out to Ian Bishop, who just lets fly first time. And it just bottom corner, keeper no chance, and it was a good equaliser. The next two goals actually are a prerequisite, and a number of years earlier, before Big Sam took over, of the type of football we could expect. Alvin Martin literally just runs into the ball and absolutely larrups it forward. I'd like to say it wasn't a long ball and say it was a long clearance, but no. Jimmy Quinn goes up for a header and kind of distracts the two centre-backs of Ipswich. Whether he gets the faintest of touches or not, I don't know. The ball drops. Jimmy Quinn actually sticks a big toe on the end of it. Toe pokes it past Forrest and then gives a diving header just for good measure. I really don't think he needed to, but like goalkeepers do ones for the cameras. I think this goal was very much a Jimmy Quinn version of that.
Especially on that pitch, you wouldn't really want to be on the floor, really, would you?
The pitch at that point didn't look too bad, Andy. It was still fairly early in the season, so it didn't look too bad. What I will say is I think the goal these days would be disallowed because the goalkeeper kind of gets his hands are behind it, and Quinn's foot is quite high as he stubs it away. So I have a feeling in today's football, this goal would have been disallowed because it would have been a high foot. And then to make it 3-1, Ludek McCloskey, listen, we know what he was capable of when he launched that ball from his hands. Absolutely clattered this thing. Quinn went up for the header and he nods the ball down. Trevor Morley brings it down on his chest and just turns and just unleashes a really well struck volley. I've written here a sweetly struck volley, past the diving Forest in the bottom corner, 3-1 West Ham. Going back and watching the highlights on these games really makes me long for the players that we had back then. The likes of Bishop, Alvin Martin, Stuart Slater, Julian Dix, Trevor Morley up front. I know I said it on last week's show, Gatesy, and Jazz, you weren't on that, but you'll probably agree. We let Mark Ward go. And we got Bishop and Morley in. And I still, to this day, and it's no disrespect to Mark Ward, because we got two players of high caliber, high quality players, letting one go of a high quality. So for us to get two back, I actually think we got the better of the deal. I love Mark Ward. I thought he was an amazing player, tough tackling, very skillful player as well. But we got two back in the shape of Morley and Bish that really did define that season, this season that we're talking about. Bish was involved in so much. Morley, I'm not sure, Gatesy, but I believe he finished top scorer.
He did indeed.
Yeah.
He did indeed.
So,
yes.
I really do think key to us coming up this season were those two players. And for us to get both of those in a deal that let Mark Ward go, do I think we would have been a better player with Mark Ward and not these two? No. Quite simply put, I think that although Wardy was a great player, we got two great players in return, and that's where I sit on that one.
Well, that's why I got high regard for Lou Macari. He joined a club where we mustn't forget we were losing goals under John Law. We weren't disciplined. We weren't maybe perhaps not fit enough, and he did something different and kind of laid the foundations for Billy Bonds to take us up the following season. And he was confronted with people like, we love McAvenny, we love Ward. They didn't want to play for him. Paul Ince, he did not want to sell Paul Ince, but he didn't want to play for us. So when you got three players don't want to play for you, when the first month you walk in, what the hell are you going to do? Tottenham wanted Paul Ince, I think. They were sniffing around for Dix as well. So it's hard to just keep these players away. And like you said, he found all those players. He signed Jimmy Quinn a few weeks later. Miklosko got him over the line. Stuart Slater promoted to first team. Dix had his best season, one of the best seasons under him as captain. So he did the best he could. Martin Allen, one of my favourite players again. He bought him from QPR, who were obviously in the division higher than us. So Colin Foster is the only one I'm not sure. He cost a lot of money for what he did. And yeah, I'm not sure. Apart from that, he left his mark on the club, really. So yeah, really, really good. And these players, like you said, they did really good service for us for a number of seasons. Yeah.
I mean, listen, like you say, Colin Foster really not the only one who, like you say, stamped his mark on the club in the regards you talked about the other players there. Heroes, would you say, in Claret and Blue? Colin Foster, good player, good servant, but not quite reaching the heights that the likes of Slater, McAvenny, Cotty, etc., that come before him.
£1.25. Sorry, I've been trying to look for the price. £1.20. Is that £1.25?
That's the Ipswich programme, Duke.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what like you just said there, Andy, £1.25. I think previous season's programmes were 80 pence. So it's a bit of a jump considering we were in the wrong division. But you know what? Again, them shorts leave a lot to be desired, don't they? Really, I'm really glad we changed that. As I said last week, Jazz, if someone, I'm surprised that the Paul Scholes incident didn't happen more often back then with the old coming out the bottom of the trousers, out the bottom of the shorts. Gatesy, game number 2 from you, my friend. Let's go.
So it's like Gillette.
Okay,
it's over to Gatesy.
It's over to Gatesy. Do we have a second one?
There was a little fact that I neglected to mention for the Hull City game. That was actually the debut of a certain Matthew Rush, who came on as a substitute for Jimmy Quinn. There you go, little Little name
Fastest
from
player in the
dim and
league.
distance past. He
Was
was
he?
rapid. He was
rapid.
rapid.
They did on. I'm not sure if it was Saint and Greavesy on Saturday afternoon TV or it was another football-based TV show, Andy. And what they used to do is they used to get the players of the time to race over 60 yards, 60 meters in a sprint, and the winners went through to the next round, etc., etc. And Matthew Rash, if I remember rightly, actually won the whole shebang and was crowned the fastest player in the league. Yeah.
What is he like? Adama Traore rapid?
You know what? I go as far to say
so.
yes. Yeah, he was.
Oh, wow.
Honest to God, shit off a shovel quick. It was mad. He was absolutely rapid.
Yeah. No, he was a little bit shit off a shovel.
Just quickly, Gatesy, Mr. Budden, if you're in the chat, Gatesy's got something special. I'm hoping on this one lined up again. Gatesy, do you?
Might do. I might.
Yeah!
You'll have to stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Budden, Mr. Gates might have something that's going to rival you and what you do. Let's see.
About that. I really don't. Just looking at this. This was the beginning of our FA Cup journey, or almost the beginning, because we actually played. This was a replay. The first game we drew, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 0-0. And although that we were the away side in that particular game, that game was played at Upton Park. That is one of two matches, because I'm looking at it with the shirt that I got the last game against Manchester United. It says game 2,398. We actually played two games at Upton Park as the away team. We played this game, not this game, but the preceding game, the third round game where we drew 0-0 with Aldershot. And I think 2 years later we played Farnborough Town again as the away team, although it was at Upton Park. So. But
this was on your quiz the other week.
It was indeed well spotted. This was also the last appearance of Stuart Robson before 2 months later he went to Coventry City, and during this game he was brought off as a substitute for Ian Bishop to replace him. I don't know if he was injured, but he probably was, because he was always injured for us. I remember.
Yeah, because I pulled out the whole season video the other day, and he even says that I recovered from, say, a hernia, and now my ankle's gone. So I don't know when I'm going to be back. And even McAvenny mentions when we bought him in 88, 87, he was injured anyway. Arsenal were quite happy to get around $750,000 for him. I didn't realise Ray Stewart's featuring in a couple of these games. And I'm like, wow, this must be his last season as well, maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm just going to jump in on that comment from Kent there, if I may. Kent, was that your the game you're talking about? Was that a 4-0 win at home against Norwich City in the First Division the season after this? So season 91-92, I'm guessing. I'm pretty sure that was the one. I think he got two headed goals from two corners, if I remember correctly. If it's that one,
Casey, can I just see a comment in the chat? And it's something that I actually quite enjoy talking about when it crops up in conversation. And it's not something that crops up normally in conversation unless you work in my pub, and then it comes up quite often, which it really shouldn't, and I don't know why it does. But it's this comment here from Mark.
Oh, yes.
About David Icke. And do you know what worries me is I remember it like it was
purple shell suit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. And I think he held like a big press conference afterwards, a couple of days later, where he was on a big stage talking about that he was, the Son of God, and God had spoken to him.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it as I say I was 13. I remember watching it on telly thinking this geezer is absolutely batshit. Like, what in God's green earth is going on that this guy here thinks he's Son of God? 1,900 years prior to that, 1,991 years prior to that, someone actually stood up and said, "I'm the Son of God," and quite a few people believed him. In 1991, David Icke stood up and went, "I'm the Son of God," and quite a few people went, "Piss off, mate. No, we've already had that. That was over 1900 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
that's an old trick.
The real son was Jesus Christ, apparently. Listen, I'm not getting involved in that conversation. I reckon that the person 1900 years ago stood up and went, I'm the son of God, pretty much was the same person that stood up in 1991 as David Icke and went, I'm the son of God. Yet people believed him and not David Icke. I'm just saying. Gatesy, give me your game. Come on. Let's move on.
That's the program. That's the program. I think actually, though, that's the program from the first game. I believe, from what I can see.
Is that Gailey?
I think it is.
Yeah, let's go.
It is, isn't it?
Who obviously later gained a little bit of notoriety in a later round of this competition.
Oh, why would you say that?
Yeah, we will cover that, sadly. But so this is the Aldi Martin Tyler giving his commentary on West Ham United 6, Aldershot 1 in the FA Cup third round replay. Enjoy. So they're bringing the ball forwards into midfield. Paris plays a beautiful ball forwards. Here's Trevor Morley. Shot, goal! 1-0 West Ham. Fantastic finish past the goalkeeper. Had no chance. 1-0 West Ham. They're bringing the ball forwards again. Stuart Slater on a run. Going inside. Having the shot. Bottom corner. 2-0 West Ham. Aldershot in all sorts of trouble very early on. Stuart Slater with the finish. Here comes Stuart Slater again down the left. Going one way, then the other. Into the penalty box. Straightens up. And it's in there by George Paris in the 6-yard box. Sweeps it past the goalkeeper. 3-0 West Ham. Trevor Morley into Ian Bishop. Bishop, Morley, Bishop. Round the goalkeeper. And in! 4-0. Here come Aldershot down there, left-hand side. Shot from distance. This is... Oh, he's let it in! How has that happened? It slipped out of his grasp like a bar of soap. Consolation goal for Aldershot. Here we are in the second half. Breaker plays the ball in. And, oh, it's off the post from George Paris. Oh, and then there's Trevor Morley and he's crowded away by the Aldershot defence. Long ball by Ian Bishop. Drops to Trevor Morley in the box. Lifts it over the goalkeeper. 5-1 West Ham. In front of the North Bank. Fantastic lob. 5-1. Breaker plays the ball into the penalty box. Too long for Jimmy Quinn. Comes out. Played in again to Quinn with the header. 6-1. He salutes the North Bank. 6 of the best. Jimmy Quinn. Great finish. And that is that for Aldershot. This is where their FA Cup journey ends here at Upton Park. 6-1 West Ham.
No, Sky Sports. He doesn't want to join you. No. No, he doesn't want to join you. We're refusing contact. Please stop calling me.
I can't afford the pay cut.
Casey, I love it. Honestly.
It was that game. It was that game. 4-0. I remember that game very well because we were absolute dog shit for most of that season, but we smashed Norwich in this particular game. So that's why I remember it. So, but yeah, thanks for that, Ken. I thought that was probably the one. So, but yeah, there you go. There's the Aldi Martin Tyler coming out again. So, yeah,
sign him up. Sign him up.
Sign him
up.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just having a little muck about.
I reckon the next phone call I'm going to be fielding, Gates, it might be from ITV trying to get the big Saturday match back up and running. I think they might want you.
Mark's saying I need to get Motty's coat. Don't tempt me. Do you know how much them sheepskin coats cost? They're an arm and a leg.
Gatesy, go check out. I think it might be ITV Studios. They might have an old Del Boy one lying around that you can get.
Yeah, that'll
You'll
do.
be all right.
That'll do. I'll just get some cotton wool buds and glue it at strategic points around the collar. That'll do.
Oh, Gatesy,
what could possibly go wrong?
You brought something special to this evening, I tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. Oh, cheers, my mate. Word. I thought we've got Jazz on. It's not going to get any better than having Jazz on. And now, boom, you've pulled something out of the bag.
We're going to need one of these. We've got all the answers, ladies and gentlemen. I change all the questions.
I tell you,
you could just sit there in the corner just trying to ride. We just let them.
Mate, it's embarrassing. Look, I got this shit, and there's Casey going, "Let me give you some commentary." He's recording videos all the time now. This is it. Listen, we need one every week from you now, Casey. Every week.
This is my thing now. This is my thing. This is how I'm going to roll.
No one wants to see your thing. Okay, let's keep this as just do the commentary. That's all we want.
Fair enough. Okay.
So we've all done so, and there seems to be a common theme in there. This was a season that we scored quite a few goals, and I'm not being funny. I didn't touch on it earlier, but we actually, if I remember rightly, we remain unbeaten until, is it the 22nd of December? Yes, I think we remain unbeaten.
Well,
we did, and that's just you try and do that. Try and imagine us doing that now. It's absolute madness. I mean, there was I think 4 times through the season, 4 times through the season we actually win. It's twice we win 4 on the trot, and on one occasion we win 3. Very, very few goals conceded in the grand scheme of things. And Gatesy, no doubt, at the end of this, you'll have the link up that tells us exactly what goals we concede and how many we score. But just the common thing that I can actually see is that there were a lot of goals. I mean, my 2 games in the league are both 3-1 games. It was absolute madness.
I think you pick. I mean, there's one at Barnsley, 3-2, going 2-0 down before half time, winning 3-2 with 2 of the goals in the 88th. I think Dowie and Foster in the 90th. Kids love sort of games where you come back, like Roy the Rovers, are 2 down, and then you get 3. Towards the end of the game.
Roy the Rovers. Oh,
yeah, Roy the Rovers. I mean, shoot and match.
He had about a 96-year career, didn't he?
He's still going, mate.
He's still going, mate. Yeah, still going.
I've got the re-release. Listen, I've got the re-release of the new. They basically rebooted it again, and for Christmas, was it last year or maybe even my birthday last year? I actually got the reboot little storybook that they send out that they've done, and then the first annual that they released for Christmas this year. And again, it starts from when he's a young lad playing for his local side. And I can't lie to you, it brought back so many good memories of like you say, the Roy the Rovers comics.
10p, were they 10p when they back in the day? 5 or 10p?
Stupid like that. Was it?
Do you remember
Billy's...
the ones that used to bend? They used to bend all the way around the goal, didn't they? Like, what?
Yeah, they were worse than Carlos's, weren't they?
And the big calf muscles, weren't they? Big calf muscles. Like, what do you lot eat? Cow pie or something?
It was. Who was it? There was the cat. What was his name? The goalkeeper. He was the Scottish fella, if I remember rightly. People in the chat might have this. There was Blackie Gray. He was the vice captain, assistant manager after Roy went for. I'll tell you, I loved it. Blackie Gray. Taffy Morgan. Taffy Morgan was the keeper. Taffy Morgan. There, look. See, I remember. I'm getting excited now. I'm going to go back and read it.
It's all coming back to you now, Duke.
Oh, listen.
The other thing was about this season. If you look at it, we replaced both fullbacks, so we ended up with Tim Breaker and Chris Houghton, who we didn't start off with. Oh, I love him. So steady Eddie, 7 out of 10, like Potsy.
He's done a great job. Now.
I think Houghton was in East London originally, if I'm not mistaken. And then he obviously played for. I think
down the road. Forest Gate, if I remember correctly.
Okay, makes sense. And 2 games that I'm surprised Duke didn't mention. And I didn't know about this because
I've still got one game to go. I've still got one game to go, though.
Okay, I better not go there then. I better not go there with that.
Listen, let's see if it's on my last game, Jazz, and then if I do mention,
yeah, go for it. Go for
it. So give me your third game then, Jazz. What's your number 3?
Yeah, it's going to be. This game was after the Oldham one. Funny enough, in the league, the 1-1 that I was talking about being the two big teams, and this was at home to Barnsley. Barnsley, famous for the film Kes, famous for Dickie Bird, the old umpire, cricket.
Yes,
and Goffy's from Barnsley on TalkSport.
Michael Parkinson.
Oh, didn't know that. He lives down the road from me. Mike Parky. Wow.
Yeah.
And when you look at the ground, I mean, yeah, it's just like
shithole, isn't it?
I didn't say that, but
it's seen better days. It's seen better days. We're trying
it wouldn't be
diplomatic.
mistaken if you opened the gates and the odd sheep just came in. It could happen, couldn't it? So you think this is a normal game, nothing's going to happen, we're going to win, and it unfolded into an amazing end-to-end game, really. And going back to Mikuláško being Player of the Year, the thing with him, controversially, I've always thought is, I never thought he was first division Premiership quality. I never felt it was in his game to do that, and you'll find out the following season. So he does 2 huge clangers in this game. They take an early lead. I think Bishop loses the ball just over the halfway line, and their number 9 quickly gets hold of it, runs towards the penalty area, unleashes a shot from about 30 yards, and it goes under Mikuláško's hands. And we go 1-0 down. And even then, the crowd are thinking, it's still early days. You know, Barnsley, they're not as good as us. We're always in the top 2, top 3 back then. But what happens is there's a cross. And this is when you see Alvin Martin obviously coming to the end of his... And he has the odd clanger during the season, if you watch the whole video as well. And he kind of misses his marker on the corner. And again, the guy heads it in and it goes under Mikuláško's body to make it 2-0. So half-time, we're 2-0 down to Barnsley, and everyone's probably shell-shocked. Bad day at the office. How the hell are we going to come back into this? McAvenny's in the team, and he's certainly trying. He hits the post a couple of times. He's making things happen, and this goes back to McAvenny being a team player. He's not one that's just going to stand there like Cotti and wait for the ball to come to him. He's making runs down the channels. He's going left. He's going right. He's really working hard for the team to try to get us back into this game. And he makes it 2-1. So Ian Bishop finds Kevin Keane. I think I'm not sure what minute it was. Gatesy might know. 60, 65 minutes maybe. Not too sure. But Bishop finds Keane, and Keane finds McAvenny, and he puts it in to make it 2-1. And then it's till the 88th minute. It's 20 minutes of constant barrage. I think hitting the post, hitting the bar. The goalkeeper's kind of getting his hand in front of everything, couple of goal line clearances. And obviously, when he reached the 88th minute, you're pretty certain not much is going to happen, really. But it's kind of Martin Allen. He runs down the wing, heads towards the penalty area, clips a cross in, and he finds our new signing, Ian Dowie. Plants a really good header into the bottom corner to make it 2-2. So obviously, we're thinking, wow, we've come back, we've got a point. Can't get better than this, but it does get better than that. And it's a 90th minute corner. And Colin Foster, who we've spoken about a lot, Colin Foster connects really well with it and plants a header into the left-hand side and to get the winner. And we win 3-2. So Roy of the Rovers, end-to-end, 5 goals, go 2-0 behind and ended up winning 3-2, really. So, yeah, game had it all. And really, really good, I think. Forgotten about that game when you look back at these seasons. It kind of brings all the memories back. I think looking at the programs, the season DVD highlights and everything. So yeah, that was a game for me. Duke. 5 goals, so I didn't let you down with that. 5 in that one.
No, you picked a cracker, and then them games are fantastic when you're the team coming from behind and you know, like you say, stealing a win, if you will, is the best way I can put it. They're the best feelings in the world. You feel like you've you've come away with everything. You know, you've gone in, you're losing them last minute. You know, them last minute winners are just some of the best feelings as a football fan you can get. I think, you know, bar seeing your club win a big trophy. I think those last minute winners, even then, dependent on the sorts of games that they are, consider, you know, then, you know, those come from behind, especially like you say, 2-0 down and looking not even in the game with 20 minutes to go, you know, and you come back 2 goals in the last literally 60, 70 seconds in a game is just one of the best feelings.
The closest game to that, probably recent in times, apart from like the Bradford and Sheffield Wednesday, is probably the Huddersfield at home. Really, we don't really come back and win from a thing. So that's probably the closest one to it from the top of my head, really, from a winning perspective.
They were both. That was the Hernandez game, wasn't it? Was that Chich?
Yes.
He got that flick on header, didn't he? If I remember rightly, from that was I think I saw them goals on YouTube the other day, or even probably Vinny on Twitter had posted something with those goals in, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Milesy, I'm going to give you the floor before I take my final game.
You sure?
Yeah. And then I'm going to hand over to Martin Tyler at the end for the last game. But give me Tartin Myler is what I'm going to call him. Tartin Myler. Give me your third game, Andy.
Yeah, my third game is our 3-1 win against West Bromwich Albion on the 1st of December 1990. The one thing what I've noticed, and we said that, is I've noticed as well, is the jump on attendances compared to the average on the season before. There a lot of people were going to the games, and I think, I don't know, did they cut the prices maybe as well? Did they
do you know what the capacity was back then? Because the season before, 26 was about, wasn't it, even in the John Lyle 85? Wasn't it 26 was about the most? I think like Ipswich, that game 85, they say 26 packed in, and then we're hitting 28s, aren't we? Like in the cup games, like Everton's 28, isn't it? 29. Yeah. But I don't know. Gatesy, do you know what the capacity was? Like, did they? I don't know.
I just think it was
probably would have been about 30,000, give or take. Sure.
I was going to say, 30,000. But just touching on Andy's comment there about the higher, attendances. I think it's more just because we were doing well, Andy. People went back, and you know, the season before was such a poor season, and you know, this season kind of, was it the season before we came down? You know, it was such a poor season. It was uncomfortable to watch. There was a lot of defeats in there. This season, we've won a lot more games. Went on that big old run at the start of the season. So I just think a lot of it was the fact that we were doing well, which is why people come back.
Yeah, no, I think they definitely played their part, and the football that we're playing. I know you mentioned a bit like over exaggerating, like Brazil, but literally some of these goals, what we scored in this game, you can see why. Morley and Slater heavily involved again. Morley, the big striker, kept the ball up, played the ball out to Slater, and he just started running at him from the left-hand side. Done a great skill, and literally, if the defender didn't get a slight touch on it, he managed to head the ball out to the edge of the box. And Bishop, literally, it was just like a little touch, and he just laid it off nicely. And Paris, what a strike! Literally, what the closest one I can think of is, do you remember how Scholes used to hit the ball on the edge of the box, and he just like no backlift, and literally that's the way it was, and it was just a great start. And this man, he obviously got my Hammer of the Year last week, and Kevin Keane again. He's just involved in everything.
Yeah, brilliant player.
Brilliant, and great skill. Literally, he had a couple of players around him, managed to get half a yard, and literally he just whipped this ball in. So much pace, and the defenders missed it, the goalkeepers missed it, and Morley just had a nice tap in. But no, it was a great pressure, and we managed to get the 2-0 lead. In the second half, bit of a mix-up between the West Brom defence. Tried to play a ball back to the goalkeeper, and Frank McAvenny just went for it. And this was a delicate little chip, about 20 yards out, just over the thing, and literally dinked it. And I mentioned the Shearer celebration. I don't know whether it was sort of like that. They just seemed to run in the corner on all these highlights for this season. They just kept on running. And it's just a great feeling. Like I said, it was the team togetherness. And when I know I keep saying it, but back then a 3-0 lead pretty much guarantees the win pretty much when you get that 3-goal lead. And I think they pretty much knew they were home and dry. But the West Brom got one back, and it was just a great ball in and literally back post. I don't know who the person was on the back post, but they just had no chance. A right bullet header, and but we went on to win 3-1, and another great performance from the team.
Funny enough, went to the game the season before you guys covered where we beat West Brom 3-2, and George Paris scored in that game as well. That was a good game. I remember that one. So, yeah, Paris certainly had his scoring boots on in these couple of seasons that we're talking about, didn't he?
Again, I think he was another...
Very underrated player, I think. Very underrated.
Was he from the academy as well?
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
We
produced some good
utility
players.
player. Thing is, George Parrish was one of these players. I don't think if you sort of said what was his default position, I don't think anyone could really tell you.
No,
he played fullback. He played midfield. He played everywhere.
I think he was
and I don't think he was ever. Yeah, but he was one of these players that he was a bit sort of. I don't think he ever had sort of like a 9 out of 10 sort of game or anything like that. But he was always like a 7 out of 10.
Though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
solid.
He's one of them steady Eddies, like a Tim Breaker, like a Steve Potts, or Vladimir Soufal in today's environment. Yeah. Just one of those players that just gets on with his job and does it to a good standard.
He had a very good understanding with King. They seem to be on the same sort of wavelength, and I think that gave him credit. But wow, look at that Barnett there.
That's the programme. There you go. Look at that Barnett.
The pair of them had haircuts like that back then, didn't they? Both Bish and Morley. Both had the long flowing lion's mane's locks. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that, considering what someone put back in the chat earlier. But we'll roll over that.
That's all rubbish. It's all rubbish. Yeah.
We'll roll over that one. Listen, we know that, but it's all fun and games.
Going back to Morley, just one more thing that really. And he mentioned this when I watch his interviews. His knack of winning penalties, Trevor Morley, is there, especially in this season. And they're not penalties, but the way he gets across in front of the defender, and he's very good at diving, a bit like Paul Kitson. Very good at winning penalties, getting across in front of the defenders. And what I noticed was the defenders don't really complain that much like we do now.
Yeah.
And I saw 3-4 penalties in this season last night watching the video that he won. Could be a lot more. So that's another mention, a point where he won us a lot of penalties.
Yeah, cracking striker, proper put himself about kind of striker. And I used to like watching that. So before I move on to Tartan Myler next to me up here, that way. I'm going to cover my third game. Now, Jazz, you said earlier you're surprised I didn't touch on 2 games. The game I'm about to do is a 3-1 victory.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
3-1 victory 10 days after Valentine's Day.
I knew it, mate.
Just because it is the old enemy. Listen,
Well, I didn't know that you're going to go into it. This one of my favourite players scored in both games against this same opposition, which I didn't know. I couldn't remember. Amazing.
So the first goal, we win 3-1. The first goal was such a good goal. I watched it back 3 or 4 times on these highlights and again today. So to quote Jonathan Pearce, boy wonder Slater is how the commentary starts off. Boy wonder Slater. He ran at the Millwall defence and he squared the ball to McAvenny, kind of on the edge of the box on the corner of the D. He then chips the ball out wide to the right. Kind of looks like a bad pass in the initial instance. Ball gets to Bish, brings it under control. Turns and just puts in just an absolute banger of a cross. I mean, it was absolutely top draw. towards the penalty spot, and McAvenny rose, and I've watched, like I say, I watched it back several times, and the way he contorts his head and his neck to get his head on the end of the ball to put that ball across the goalkeeper was just unbelievable. Like, I honestly, he kind of flicks, but he's kind of leaning back at the same time. So his head, it was all at a weird angle, but it was such a good goal. And certainly probably one of my, one of the ones that stick out as I've been watching the highlights of these. Not better than Stuart Slater against Everton, but it was good. Millwall equalised. Kenny Cunningham. Again, some of these names that come out of these games is fantastic. Like, bring back so many memories of these players. And once you remember one, 6 or 7 more spring to mind. But Kenny Cunningham hits a long diagonal pass towards the West Ham area. It takes a deflection. And Tim Breaker kind of loses the ball, the pace, and he kind of lashes out, kicks it against the Millwall player, bounces back onto Breaker, and then into space. And John Goodman was the first player to react. Again, another player that, I see his name, hear his name, and just like, Jesus Christ, okay, that's him. I remember him. He lashes onto it. He lashes home the loose ball past McCloskey, and it's 1-1. Then West Ham go 2-1 up, and Ian Bishop. I mean, listen, I bang on about how great I thought that Carrick was in the middle of the park for West Ham. His passes, his pinpoint. He could put it on a sixpence. All the rest of it. You know what? Bishop was the 90s version for me of a Carrick-esque type player. The way he could ping a pass, he could hit a ball as well, but he kind of commanded that midfield. He drove the team forward. But he plays a great first-time pass into the path of it, accelerating Stuart Slater down the left. And he kind of gets to the byline. He breaks into the Millwall box, and Brian Horn was the goalkeeper of Millwall. He makes a good save at the near post, kind of routine, but it's still a good save. But he doesn't hold on to the ball, kind of fumbles it a little bit. The ball, rolls around. McAvenny picks the ball up, kind of does a what is affectionately known as a noble 360, and literally does a 360-degree turn from right to left as he goes round. And then just kind of swivels and hits the ball right-footed underneath, the goalkeeper's body as he goes to dive again. And it's 2-1 West Ham, and you see the fans celebrating behind the goal, and it's Millwall. You can tell. We go 3-1 up. And another future hammer playing for Millwall. Okay, it was towards the end of his career, and he did call it. I think he said he spoke about he loved watching his boyhood heroes play at Upton Park, 2 of which being Alan Brooking and Trevor Devonshire, when he signed for West Ham after winning the European Cup with Manchester United. Teddy Sheringham, he loses the ball in midfield in his own half. Bishop again picks the ball up. He plays in George Paris down the right. Paris shapes the cross. I'm not sure if he'd actually made the right connection. We would have got a goal out of it because he kind of studs it into the path of Frank McAvenny. Frank McAvenny chips the ball into Morley, and Morley buries the ball with a really good header again across the goalkeeper. A lot of what I'm seeing in these is the balls actually go across the goalkeeper for a lot of these goals that I'm watching in some of these, especially from the headers. They literally glance them across, so they go away from where they've come from, kind of thing. But again, some really good goals in the game. And again, I didn't want to let you down, Jay, so I had to throw a Millwall game in there. The other one was a draw.
Yeah. McAvenny scored again, didn't he, in that one?
He did. I mean, listen, I'd taken a bit of stick today, actually, because I was talking to a couple of guests in the pub that text me. There was a couple of guests in the pub today that were were Millwall fans, and we were talking about the massacre, and you know, when they beat us 4-1, and I brought this game up in this season, and they said Millwall have got more wins over you than you've got over West Ham. I said, yeah, but it was such a long time in between games that it don't matter. You know, we're always in the top flight. You're always shit. So it is what it is. So I now am hoping, and I know there's another one. You're not going to let us down, Gatesy. I know you've got another one set up because you've enjoyed this. I'm going to give you the floor again, just because I won't lie to you, mate. I've fallen in love with these. These are amazing. And that's not me taking the piss as much as I do.
No.
So, all yours, Squire. Give me your game number 3.
Oh.
Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it isn't a happy one, this one. But the reason I picked this was because I wasn't there, but I remember watching this on the telly at home, the family home. I would have been 15, I think. Piss off. I'd have been about 15 there or thereabouts when this game went out. I'll just put it on full screen for people to see it a little bit more clearly. So it was the FA Cup semi-final at Villa Park, which finished 4-0 to Nottingham Forest. Tony Gale became the first player to be sent off, certainly in England. I don't know about in the world, but certainly in England, for what became known as the professional foul. So being the last man and bringing a player down, he became the first player sent off for that particular offence. If I just go in on it a little bit, so if people want to see the names there. So you've got McCloskey in goal, you've got Potts, Foster, Houghton, Gale, Martin Allen, Bishop, Keane, Paris, Slater and Morley as your starting 11. The substitutes who came on were Ray Stewart for Martin Allen and Jimmy Quinn for Trevor Morley. And yeah, what can you say? I mean, you know,
McAvenny was banned for this game. Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah. I mean, this was.
He got sent off, didn't he? In a couple of games, got 3-match ban.
Yeah. It was a pretty. I remember watching it and sort of like, you know, obviously Gailey got sent off, and then in the second half we conceded 4 goals. Don't forget though, Nottingham Forest were a top tier team. We were a second tier team. So in a lot of ways, we were probably, you know, we weren't expected to be there and all the rest of it. But, you know, once you're in a semi-final, you want to win it, and to sort of have a player sent off and it's ripped away from you.
I didn't know Trevor Morley played. I thought, I thought he got stabbed there.
Yes,
did he play? I'm surprised.
It was before this game. He had a little he had a little altercation with a bread knife by all accounts, but we won't go into that one. But so that was the lineup there. Also, before I sort of get into it, I did actually get this for your game, Duke. The program for the Millwall game is there. Mr. Slater, I do believe.
Legend.
And this is the program for the semi-final.
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah.
So but I'll get him in because he's waiting in the wings. The old the Eddie Martin Tyler to give take on the FA Cup semi-final that was ruined by Keith Hackett. West Ham United 0, Nottingham Forest 4. So here we are at Villa Park on this beautiful mid-April Sunday afternoon. First Division Nottingham Forest against Second Division West Ham in the semi-final of the FA Cup. What could possibly go wrong? So the ball's being played forward. West Ham on the edge of the Forest box. Promising. Ball's played from right to left, but it's cleared by the Nottingham Forest defence. And the ball drops to Gary Crosby. He's in a foot race with Tony Gale. They come down. Referee's blown his whistle. What's he given here? He's gone over to Tony Gale. He's looking very stern, the referee. Tony Gale's pointing to his shirt. He's making his point of view. The referee reaches to his pocket. It's red! Oh my goodness! The referee has given it as a professional foul. The West Ham players go absolutely bananas at him. They can't believe it. What a decision. So early in the semi-final. My goodness. What was he thinking, Keith Hackett, the referee? He's pointing Tony Gale off. He's telling him, you're off, mate. And Tony Gale's telling him his point of view. I'm just having a look at the replay here. Crosby's got in front of Gale. That's fine. But there was a player around on the cover. They've come down. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, you could argue. But the referee has sent off Tony Gale. Corner for West Ham. And the West Ham fans are letting the referee know what they think of him. The ball's played in by Kevin Keane from the corner. It drops. Foster, no. And, the shot! And it's hit. It's a save from Crossley, from George Paris. Here we are in the second half. Nigel Clough bringing the ball forwards. Roy Keane. Gary Crosby. Get the shot away. It's 1-0. Nottingham Forest go into the lead. Gary Crosby, who was involved in the sending off of Tony Gale, gets the goal. So George Paris brings the ball forward, plays the ball out to the left-hand side. Here comes Stuart Slater. He cuts in. And cleared away for a corner for West Ham. That was so close to the equalising goal for the 10 men of the East End. Here comes Nigel Clough. Plays the ball in, but Roy Keane's robbed by Ian Bishop, but he loses it out to Gary Parker. Down the right-hand side, brings it in. Keane again, receives it back. Keane in the penalty box. 2! It's 2! The 19-year-old Irishman from Cork makes it 2-0 to Nottingham Forest. And West Ham face an uphill task now. So 20 minutes left. Throw in. It's over the head of Colin Foster. And Stuart Pearce on his right foot in the penalty box. Sweeps it past McCloskey. 3-0. Game over, you would suspect. Gary Charles coming into the penalty box on his left. He finishes it low into the corner. West Ham go 4-0 down. And quite frankly, this game has been ruined by an awful refereeing decision by Keith Hackett. However, I have to say, the West Ham fans absolutely bouncing up and down, singing their songs. Billy Bond's Claret and Blue Army is all I can hear. It's an absolute cacophony. The best support in the world, in my opinion. And they've been absolutely shafted by an absolutely appalling refereeing decision. Nottingham Forest 4, West Ham United 0. And what can I say? Absolutely terrible, terrible refereeing. Keith Hackett, hang your head in shame.
It was like I was back
Not
there.
pleasant. Yeah, but do you know what? Do you know what I remember about that game? Is just as that game was about to kick off, and it was on BBC commentary, and it was John Motson and Bobby Charlton that were doing the commentary. And just as the first whistle's about to go, the game's about to start, there's a knock at the door. Two old ladies were stood there. The census was going on at this time. And bear in mind, this was before the internet, kids. This is before the internet. So it wasn't done online. It was all done by paper, and you had to write things down and whatever. I know, it's strange, isn't it? And my dad just went out there. He's like, just give me the fucking envelope, and just slammed the door in their face. And that was that sort of thing, you know. It's like the biggest game that we've played in like 11 years or whatever. And just ruined by an absolutely crap refereeing decision. You know, maybe we'd have gone on and still lost it. You know, who knows? But you know, we played the majority of that match with 10 men, but all I remember was watching it at home in our family home in Bexley Heath at the time, and all I could hear was Billy Bond's Claret and Blue Army just ringing out again and again, even at 4-0 down. 4-0 down, the game's gone. You're down to 10 men. You're 4-0 down. You're a second-tier team against a top-tier team. The game's gone. You're not going to Wembley to play a cup final where we would have played Spurs. That dream's gone. And yet all I could hear ringing out, Billy Bond's Claret and Blue Army, on and on and on, and just all this crowd bouncing up and down, just flags and scarves, and it was a sight to see. It really was. Watching it at home, I was watching it, and it just sort of showed me just what amazing support we've got. Our backs against the wall. We're dead. We are dead. We're not going anywhere. But you know what? We're still going to out-fucking sing you. We might not be able to outplay you. We might not be able to beat you. We will out-fucking sing you. Job done.
Yeah, as I said to you last night, Gatesy, last week, I remember watching the game, and I remember the sending off, and I remember going 1-0 down, 2-0 down, and then getting the right fucking ump and walking out of the house and going for a long walk because I just about had enough of watching that bullshit. So I didn't actually see the second 2 goals, and I probably still haven't. To be fair, I hate the fact that it was stolen from us. It's not like it was a fair. It was a fair game. The sending off in hindsight probably still would be given against us by VAR because the fucking thing hates us. People hate us, but it was just madness, mate. Absolute madness. I don't really want to dwell on it because it's one of them games that just leaves a fucking horrible taste in the back of your throat.
I think Neil Warnock was in the studio for BBC, if I remember, and everyone at halftime were like, "It's not right. What's happened? It's wrong." And I think even Tony Gale mentions that at halftime, Billy Bonds told him to sit on the touchline, and someone said you can't due to rules, and then Billy's like, "You can try it, mate." And then so Tony watched the game from the back, and like I said, I'm sure that's his only sending off. He hardly used to get booked anyway. So and then Keith Hackett, too late now, and he says, "Oh yeah, I realise I made a mistake." And after the game in the car park, I had to go at his manager to say it's wrong what's happened and that kind of thing. I don't know. It's too late now anyway, but I believe he never refereed a West Ham game, certainly at Upton Park anyway. After that,
he wouldn't have got out there alive, Jazz.
Yeah,
that's why I'm surprised with Mike Dean how quickly he came back to referee our games. But then there's no fans. But
yeah. I mean, listen, it's just another one of them games, isn't it? That we've spoken about so many times this season. In all fairness, that we've been absolutely fucking shafted by officials. And I don't want to wax lyrical about this season because we'll do that in December. But it just feels like, I say, it's another one of them games that we've been shafted by an official, and there seems to be a theme throughout our years as certain seasons that's the case. But this one, like I say, I've really enjoyed this season. Talking about this, it was a positive season. I think we can all agree on that. I mean, Gatesy, you've got that there if you want to go through it, mate.
Yeah, so this was how it ended up at the end of the season. So as you can see there, played 46, won 24, drew 15. I think that's probably where we didn't manage to pick up the title, the second division title that season. We drew a few too many games. We lost very few, as it turns out, 7 out of 46.
We lost by a point, didn't we? We lost promotion by a point, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. If we'd have had 88 points, we'd have won it on goal difference. But it was the last game of the season. We were at home against Notts County, and we lost that. I think it was 2-1, if I remember rightly, and I think Oldham got a result. I think they played Sheffield Wednesday, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
they needed to win. Yeah. We lost, and that was that. I mean, we still got promoted, which at the beginning of the season was the objective: get promoted. But once you're in that position, and we'd gone, as Duke said earlier, in the league we'd been unbeaten until the 22nd of December, which is an absolutely ridiculous statistic. And you look at that, we conceded 34 goals in 46 league matches. Scored, again, this is probably sort of like you could pick holes in it. we scored 60 goals in 46 games. Again, I'd probably argue we needed to score maybe a couple more. And maybe, like I say, you look at it, we drew too many games. That was where we shot ourselves in the
But
foot
what happened was
we got promoted.
Yeah, I mean, my memory from that last game, Gatesy, is obviously, again, never seen us win anything. ITV used to have a show where they used to show the final score. And when that program started, the Sheffield Wednesday Oldham game is still drawing. So as the program starts, Elton Wellesby says in the headlines, West Ham go up as champions. By the time, within 1 minute that he goes live into the studio, and that's when it changes, they've been given a penalty in the last minute, Oldham, to win the league title. And I'm like, oh, for God. And then the players even mentioned that even before the Notts County game, they felt that Billy Bonds wasn't serious about winning the championship. He felt his job had been done. We've gone up. And they felt that if he'd given them the actual bit more G up, bit more serious about winning the game, they were going to give it that extra to get it over the line. So they felt that Billy wasn't interested in the title. He just wanted to go up, and that's it. So, yeah, we lost the title, the last-minute penalty.
Yeah, what can you do? And I think Notts County, if I remember correctly, they got into the playoffs by virtue of beating us, and I think they then went up with us. Was it them? I'm sure they went up.
They were promoted through the playoffs, They got promoted through the playoffs, finishing fourth.
Through the playoffs. Because I think it 3 went up this year. I think it was Oldham went up as champions. We went up second place. I think third. Was Sheffield Wednesday.
So 4 went up. 4 went up,
and then you had a playoff place. I'm fairly sure I'm thinking of the right season. Ken will probably jump in the comments and
you are
right.
No, you're right. 4
but,
went up.
I'm fairly sure that was.
Well, Notts County had that player Mark Draper that we were interested in for a long time.
Later went to Villa.
We should have signed him and Rob Lee and all those people. And going back to what Duke said, how the hell was Sheringham still messing about with Millwall? Why didn't someone just pick him up? It's just crazy, crazy.
I think did they have? Was it that season or did he move on already? Was that
he went to Forest, didn't he?
Cascarino. No, Cascarino. Was he still there with Sheringham at that point, or did he leave a little bit before?
Not sure. Not sure. I don't know.
Because did he go to Chelsea then Celtic, or Celtic then Chelsea?
He went to Villa. He played for Villa as well.
He played for Villa as well.
Yes.
It was him and Ian Ormond-Droyd, if I remember rightly.
Ian
Ormond-Droyd
of his day, wasn't he?
Yeah, Gordon was it Cowan? Gordon Cowan was the midfielder, wasn't he? Honestly, like these players' names come flooding back. The second you bring up one, 2 or 3 come back in, didn't they?
That is again. That's a sort of statistic that I think Trevor Morley was our top goal scorer with 12 in the league. We needed someone to sort of like chip in with a bit more than that. We needed sort of like someone getting 18 goals in the league. That would have been the difference for me. If we could have found a goal scorer that could have put in 18, 20 league goals, we'd have absolutely pissed that.
I think the goals were shared, but certainly, the goals were a bit shared. But Sheffield Wednesday had Paul Williamson and David Hurst up front. Obviously, Oldham had Andy Ritchie, who was prolific for them around that time.
God,
our goals were more shared. Andy Ritchie just had that face, didn't he? Oh my God.
Mate, it was a season before.
Tom, you are correct.
Season before, it was the game against them in the cup where it just everything was him. Every bloody I listened to it on the radio, Jason. Every fucking time they met, I just wanted to read through.
Mate, that was one of the worst days of my life.
Honestly, that game that season, and obviously the Forest game the season we're talking about, it's just my
Paul
life.
Paul Williamson was like Callum Wilson of his time. For Charlton, he always scored against us. Carried on with
the City of Nottingham didn't like us. They beat us in the semi-final, Forest, and then County did us in the last game, and that was our highest league crowd in that last game.
Well, Trevor Morley was born in Nottingham. That's the only good thing.
Yeah. There you go. It all came back to haunt us, but
But, and we ended up with a great Gary Charles after that from Nottingham.
We did.
Yeah, did he play 7 games for us?
Scored an own goal, mate.
Brilliant.
In all fairness, we did get Macau. So I mean, All right,
And Harewood.
And Harewood or Marlon. Love Marlon. Honestly. Great players.
Can you remember who the Hammer of the
God.
Year was? Can you remember?
McCloskey.
He was the big man.
Correct. Who was runner-up?
My Hammer of the Year.
Slater,
So that would be this man here.
Oh, no, was he weren't runner-up, was he?
He was.
No, he wasn't my Hammer of the Year then, no.
Wow.
So Jay, who was your Hammer of the Year for this year?
Oh, bloody hell. I got a soft spot for Bishop, haven't I? Bishop. I like Bishop.
Yeah, see, he was in the top 3 for me. Obviously, Ludo won it. And
Bishop, I don't know. Maybe he played in every game, Bishop. I don't know. Maybe he did.
Georgie Paris. Tom's was Trevor Morley. Andy, who was yours?
Yeah, Trevor.
The runner-up.
Yours was Georgie P.
Yeah, every game what I like, he was just involved in everything, and I loved it. So yeah, that's for me.
Gatesy, yours?
I agree. I'd say Georgie Paris, and again, he's one of those players that's so underrated. And I'd said to you about a couple of days ago, I found a fact that he had a testimonial in 1993 at Upton Park, and I couldn't believe the lack of attendance that he had. It was, I think I read it was 1,300 people or thereupabouts, and I was like,
I didn't even know he had
what?
One. I didn't even know.
Yeah, no, he had a testimonial in 1993 and at Upton Park, and I think I read it was 1,300 and something. I was like, excuse me?
Who was it against?
I can't remember, mate.
I don't know.
I got a funny feeling it might have been Birmingham. Because I think he went to Birmingham after he left us. In fact, I know he did. But I remember reading it. He had a testimonial at Upton Park, and a princely sum of 1,300 people turned up there or thereabouts.
Wrong,
and I was
innit?
like, oh my word, really?
Is it because of when it was? Was it not a funny old date?
Don't know. I don't know the reason, but I mean, the guy was. I mean, he was a pro at West Ham for 11 years. He started in '82, if I remember correctly, and then left in '93. And as I say, he was a guy that played in. You turned around to him and said, "Right, George, you're right back today. Yeah, no problem. George, you're left back today. Yeah, okay. You're playing central mid. Yeah, okay. Right mid, whatever." He'd have just been, yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
and as I say, he never
guy,
ever, never ever. Had a 9 out of 10 game. I think he, I can't remember any game where he, dominated and this, that, and the other. But he was always, like I say, he's one of them players that's just so reliable, so versatile, and never gets the credit. Like I say, lots of players we've had like that down the years that have just been under the radar, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, there or thereabouts, steady eddies.
But another thing is, when you look at those old players' interviews, they come across as so shy, so down to earth, so kind of naive. Even like they're scared to even go up to John Lyle's office to ask for any money, any manager, whatever you give me, governor, I'll do. I remember him being interviewed in that '86 season, and he used to catch the bus to go to the ground. I remember my dad in the '70s going to the games with a lot of the players on the same train as him. Few players had cars. I remember Mark Crossley mentioning under Brian Clough, he goes, we had to ask him permission to get a car. Whoa, very different times, It's just very interesting.
Have you ever heard Mark Crossley doing asking about Cloughie?
Yeah, brilliant.
Honestly, it's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
He does a whole.
Have you ever heard the story that he tells about David Curry?
Yeah.
You heard the story he did about David Curry?
Yeah.
He turns around to him and he's got him in in training. He's just bought him from Barnsley, and he says to him, "Have you bought an house in an area?" And he turns around and he goes, "Well, actually, boss, no." And he says, "Let me stop you there, son. Don't fucking bother."
Shit house, they calls him. There's lots of stories. Brilliant. Mark Crossley, he played the game. And then the following game, he had to play for his son's non-league team with Archie Gemmell running the linesman, didn't he? Like on a Sunday. Oh my God, absolutely crazy. One more thing I wanted to mention about this season is players who we came up against, who we were going to sign the following season and play. Gary Stroder played for West Brom that season against us. And then obviously you guys will cover the following season. Mike Small we come up against Brighton.
Oh, no neck.
So yeah, Mikey. Love or hate. I thought he's all right. I mean, up to Christmas. I mean, you guys cover it. I don't want to blab on. Yeah, I thought he's all right.
No, he did all right.
He's all right.
Because he scored.
Mikey
he scored the winner against Arsenal at Highbury, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
I think he scored a goal in a 2-1 win at Upton Park against the Spuds.
He went on a crazy run. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, crazy-ish, maybe 3 or 4.
Did he have Vaseline on his eyebrows or something? Didn't he, like a boxer, Mike Small? He used to have.
I remember
like,
now. I know he had no neck. I mean, he was built like.
Yeah. A brick outhouse, wasn't it?
Actually, that shirt behind you, Duke, that's the one Mike Small would have worn, wasn't he, in his first season? I think.
Possible.
That's the next season's shirt, mate. I think that is the one. And
I've heard that story, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard that one. Yep, I've heard that one.
I really enjoyed doing these.
Pops.
Yeah. I really enjoyed doing these shows because, and especially now, because I'm now at the point where a lot more comes back to me as we do these shows. A lot more starts.
It's like you, we, especially after the Super League, where I took a couple of weeks off YouTube, as you know, because I was busy starting a new job this week, had exams, but. That's why we like the old times. We don't want to remember what's going on today. We get upset. It's all fake. There's no loyalty in the game anymore. Yeah, that's why what we all want to do is get together in a pub, talk about the old times. And we sound like we're bloody retired, but we're not old. We're still young at heart. But that's the time we loved. Like, we talk about Panini stickers. Duke was laughing.
Yeah.
Match magazine, simple times.
Back at the bike sheds, swapsies.
That's a different story, Gates. Oh, sorry. All right. Woo.
Swapsies. I'm talking Panini, not porno.
Find them in black plastic bags in the woods. Yeah. Anyway, listen. Enough.
But
of that,
no, I appreciate this one, Jazz. I appreciate you coming on as well, mate. This is what it's all about, bringing back memories. So thanks for your time, sir.
I got the check for the last one. That cleared the bank. Cheers for that.
The amount of subscribers we've got, Duke and Gates, you've got now, they'll be monetized anyway. So
it's very nice. I didn't want anything. I come on for free, but. Thank you anyway. Really appreciate that.
Any of you guys watching this live, any of you guys that watch it subsequently, if you're sitting there thinking that there's a season that particularly appeals to you that we've got in the coming weeks, get in touch with us on the DMs. You've got the banner at the bottom that's scrolling across. You've got all of our social media platforms. You know it. Yeah. Don't even go there.
I was a good boy. I didn't do that.
Yeah, but no, I mean, any of you guys take, Jazzy's role.
We'll do that next.
Jump in. We want you guys getting involved because you're, like I say, we haven't got a channel if you guys aren't involved. And it's real that simple. This is your channel. As well as ours. I mean, obviously Duke and I run it, but this is your channel just as much as it is ours. So, get involved, guys. And thank you very much, Mandy. Appreciate it.
Come on over. We really enjoyed doing these. Me and Casey were talking a couple of days ago. And, I listen, I didn't expect it to blow up like it has. And some of you out there might think 323 people hasn't really blown up. You know what? For us,
really?
It really has. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really blown up for us. I wasn't expecting to.
That's up fourfold from the last time I was on.
Yeah. We had a good 400%. Night last night, actually. I think we jumped 10 subscribers, Casey, overnight, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, listen, small and steady.
Listen,
I mean, we've
we're
only
going to
been going, less than 3 months, isn't it? We started in February. So here we are in April. So it's not quite 3 months now.
I see where you're going, and I like it. It's a little.
Listen. We said at the very beginning, how long we're going to do it for. We don't know, how successful or crap it's going to be. We don't know. We're enjoying it, and all the time we're enjoying it, and all the time we've got time that we can dedicate to it, and all the time that there's you guys out there that either live or, whenever at your convenience decides you want to sit down and watch it, we will carry on.
Without a doubt. And you know what, Gatesy, long may this continue. And I know this one's going to continue through till December, which we've already decided, because we're going to cover the season that we're currently about to finish anyway. So I think that takes us through till the back end of December, maybe. So there's a lot more of this to come. Tom said in there he's looking forward to 96, 97. Tom, if you want to come on.
Come on. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on.
Give us a shout. Pick your 3 games, pick your hammer of the year, like Jazz has done tonight, and you can be part of that. Jazz, if you ever want to come back, buddy, and continue.
I ain't going anywhere now. Forget about coming back.
By the way, can I ask a question?
No.
How much are we paying? How much are we paying for the Audi Martin Tyler?
A partridge in a pear tree.
That'll do. That'll do.
But yeah, listen. I love doing this. I love the guys that stick around for 2 hours 10 minutes. There's 6 of you still left. Pretty much guaranteed most of you have still been here. You've been here from the start. So much appreciated. It's much love from me and Gates to you guys. Thank you to Andy for his idea for this show. Thank you for Jazz for coming on. It's much appreciated. Let's hope we continue to grow this and move this forward. Cheers to you, Jazz. Gatesy, do your thing.
Okay, guys, so we got 6 of you still watching. Please don't go anywhere, because this really is quite important. This is about young Isla Caton, who is a 6-year-old girl suffering from neuroblastoma, which is a cancer for which there is no treatment in this country on the NHS. So in the middle of a global pandemic, guys, put yourselves in this family position. You've got a 6-year-old daughter who's fighting for her life. No other way of dressing this up, guys. This is the fight of her life. For her life. They've got to take this little girl wherever it is in the world to get this treatment to save her life. They've got to pay for the flights to get there. They've got to pay for the treatment itself, the accommodation, living costs, and the bills are still piling in the UK. They've still got to pay their gas, their electricity, rent, mortgage, whatever. So, this family needs our help, and it doesn't really matter whether you're a West Ham fan, doesn't really matter if you're a football fan. If you are a decent human being and you can empathise with this family, these are the places we would ask you to put any spare change you've got. You've got a PayPal and a Just Giving page right there. And we would ask you to give as generously as you can. No donation is too small. Anything from £1 upwards will be accepted with a great deal of gratitude and thanks. Whether you can or can't contribute in a monetary sense, one thing that you can do either way is to take the details that are on this banner and share it, and share it again to your friends, to your family, on your social media, to that strange old bloke down the bottom of the road that took your lawnmower 5 years ago and never gave it back. The woman that lives a couple of streets away with about 20 cats and she stinks of piss. Send it to all of them. Just send it far and wide. We don't care, right? As Bob Geldof did in 1985 at Wembley, we need your fucking money. Simple as. This little girl needs it. This little girl deserves it. She's 6 years old and this shouldn't be happening. So let's come together and let's help. Let's do some good, guys.
No, I'll tell you what,
Isla's Claret and Blue Army.
Isla's Claret and Blue Army, indeed, Milesy. Listen, Gatesy, you do it every time. I get goosebumps. As Gatesy said, guys, please help. Fully understand that we're all in a situation of a pandemic, but every little bit helps. 50p, a pound, whatever. Anything we can help. Gatesy, what did you have for dinner?
I think it was sweet and sour chicken, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that dog's going to be shitting like a trooper tomorrow. I hope you're not. hope you're not cleaning on clean-up duty, mate. I'm not going to lie to you, because if that dog's had sweet and sour chicken, she's in like a trooper.
For anyone that's watching in the live chat, I've literally just put the PayPal link for Isla in the live chat. So if any of you want to jump on that, crack on, please do.
Pretty much that's it, guys. We're done with the show. Again, thanks to Jazz joining us, you guys coming on in the chat. Andy, Gatesy, as always, it's a pleasure. 2 things left to say. Andy, one for you. What are we?
We are fucking massive.
You know it. And Gatesy, what else?
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons, indeed. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Guys in the chat, thank you so much for being there. We're doing this because of you. We shall see you again later down the line. Take care, guys, and good night.